No, dude. Like, I love the new special. It's so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is cool that I'm getting you on now because I think that you're going to be huge and soon. I don't know how soon, but like I had Mark Norman on and I was like, oh, this is so cool, Mark Norman. And then now he's just huge, and I feel like that's going to be you. That's the path you're going to take.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's really good to hear. He is huge now. You talked to him before he was real big?
Yeah, I was like right when he was on the cusp of like, I don't think he had even done Rogan yet. I was like, why is like Rogan not having him on? And then now, of course, he's like, they're like buddies, right? He goes on there all the time, but it was before that. He was like, right. And he was doing a bunch of podcasts, like a bunch of random stuff. I think he was working really hard. I mean, it took him a while to get to the point he is now. And now he's just like, he's huge, you know, and now he's probably just waiting to get canceled, right? Isn't that the process?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, well, maybe you've got the golden touch. Maybe it'll happen to me.
Well, I think I have. That's one thing I'm good at. Is I feel like I'm good at like spotting talent. Like you know Fahim, right? Do you follow him?
Oh yeah, I like Fahim.
Yeah. See, I'm from Seattle, so I used to go see him all the time when he was like super young. Like he wasn't even like 21, I don't think, when I first started seeing him. And I was like, dude, this guy is so funny. Like he's gonna be huge someday. And like he's still not as big as I think he should be, but I mean, he's one of my favorite comedians. I think he's so smart.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Yeah, I follow him on all this stuff. I feel like I had that feeling about Nate Bargatze before he really blew up. I was like, why are more people not following this guy? And then, you know, now he's enormous. But yeah, he's the only one that I've actually predicted. But I hope you're right.
Well, yeah, and it's weird because I was looking at our Instagram. I think before I reach out to you, I always look and see like, okay, like what comedians does he follow? Who follows him? So I'm like, oh, okay, these people have done my show, so I can always use that. So you know, I'm not like a serial killer or something. But
I would do a serial killers podcast. Okay. I have no standards at all.
Hey, that'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I noticed Neal Brennan follows you, and I was like, wow, that's like a big compliment. And he doesn't follow that many people. He only follows like 800 people. So, you know, some of those people, they follow like 5,000 people. So you're like, okay, that's not, but only like less than 1,000 and he follows you. That's a good compliment.
Yeah, no. I was pumped to see that. Yeah.
Do you know him, or did he just like was a fan of it? Really?
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. I don't know who put him on, or maybe he just saw a clip, but yeah, I was excited. He sometimes likes some of my videos too, which is nice.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. That is a huge compliment. Well, that's what I noticed, like, because the people like Mark Norman, Fahim, yourself, like the people that I'm a fan of, I feel like sometimes maybe like why Fahim isn't as big and stuff is because it's almost like too smart. You know what I mean? Like, because I feel like there's different levels of comedy. Like I watch so much comedy that it's the basic comedians, like they kind of bore me a little bit. You know, nothing against guys like Larry the Cable Guy. Like they're funny, but like if you start there, you're like, oh, this is really funny. But then you kind of move up into the more like smarter, quirkier, like you don't know what they're going to say next comedians. And I feel like for some people that's like, it's like too smart for them or something.
Yeah. I think with him, his act outs are so on point. And usually with like comedians that do a lot of act outs and, you know, impressions of this and that, I don't really go for. But with him, it's like he gets down into very specific, like slice of life minutia. Like, you know, I that's my favorite kind of comedy is like, hey, haven't you noticed when this happens? And it's something that like, yes, you've always noticed, but no one has ever put into words before. And he's just found so many of those little things. I wish I had an example, but yeah, I like Fahim a lot. He should be bigger.
Yeah, your special does a really good job of that. It's always like, that's what I love about good comedians is like, it's relatable. Like it's like a thing that's like an everyday thing, like you say, but it's like something you never thought of. But you when they say it, you're like, oh, that's so right on. Like, why have I never thought of that?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm always trying to write or discover would be a better verb for that. But yeah, that's why I write jokes so slowly is because for me, it has to be something like that, where it's like everybody knows about it, but no one has talked about it yet, or not talked about it in a particular way. And those are really hard to think of.
Yeah. Do you find a lot of the jokes fall flat? Because I mean, isn't that just comedy in general? Like most comedians bomb like a lot of the time. A lot of them are like, we went to the Comedy Store. It was so crazy. It was like every famous comedian like Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Mark Maron, like so many comedians, Jeff Ross, like all these like
Mm,
comedians I love, and so many of them were so terrible because they
yeah.
were just testing out their like material that was like throwaway stuff. And so some of those jokes might have made it, but a lot of it didn't. And I thought, why are these good comedians doing so bad? Are they drunk or something? It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's how they test material.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the more interesting like features of those showcase shows is that sometimes the most well-known comedians are the worst ones on the show because the lesser known comedians are all doing their A material because they're just like happy to be there and they like they want to impress, you know, and it's the big guys that they can bomb and still get booked. And so so
Hmm.
they do. So yeah, that's a common thing is to like go to one of those shows and like, wow, I saw so and so and they sucked. Um, but yeah, that's, I mean, it has to be that way because they have to try their new material somewhere. Um, and they might as well do it in front of the best audience, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you typically do try your, I'm assuming you just try a lot of your new stuff out in like open mics and stuff?
No, yeah, I can't even afford to go to open mics anymore. I have a kid
Really?
and I can't drag myself to a shitty New York open mic. They're so bad. Uh, like some of them you don't even get on necessarily. I'll do like stuff where it's like some clubs do this thing where it's like at the end of the show and they you know they wrap up the show but then they say all right we got some more comics that are going to try some new stuff
Hmm.
and you can stay if you want. I'll do that kind of thing because I'll definitely like get on and it'll definitely be a decent crowd but I can't afford to go to just pure open mics anymore. um but I will do new material on like shows that are not as high stakes. It kind of depends where I'm booked. If I'm booked at like a nice club where that I want to keep booking me, I will not do as much new stuff. But yeah, if it's like a club that I'm at a lot and I can afford to play around a little bit, I'll do that because
Or
you
do
got
you,
to do it somewhere.
yeah. I mean, no, I guess that's it, like more in the beginning when you're starting out, you got to do open mics and you bomb a lot. But then as you
Yeah,
go on, because I know it's like that with like back to Fahim, like Fahim does those like Fahim works on things. And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
this is the shit he's working on. This is like, and they're like, they're all great jokes. So you
yeah,
get a higher percentage of things that you kind of know, like this is probably going to do well.
yeah. I don't know how he does that.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, you got to have so much material to be blowing through it that quickly and posting it too. I mean,
Right.
I guess it's working for him. But yeah, I mean, if I have a really good bit, I save it because I'm like, I got to get a good cut of this, or like this is going in the next special, so I don't want to like. I'm not as like worried about burning new material because I
Mhm.
think people are too worried about that. Like you can post something and then post it later, but I
Hmm.
still I still don't want to like I don't want to post a shitty video of myself at like a club and it's you know it doesn't have a good sound quality or whatever.
With like
So
on a phone or something.
yeah, I mean actually phones sometimes have the best picture quality, but the audio yeah is not
Audio. Yeah.
always that great. Um, yeah, so I'm a little I'm yeah. I mean Fahim has got to be like the most he's got to have the highest ratio of like most jokes that are the best of anyone that I know. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
seriously. It's because, like I said, I saw all those other guys at Comedy Store and they were just bomb. Like none of the jokes were good. And I was like, and these are really good comedians. So I'm like, it's just interesting
Yeah.
that he has so much. And then there's some comedians that they do a lot of the same material. Like you'll see them, they'll come through town like once a year. And like the second time they come, you're like, oh, this is the same set he did last
Mm,
year. Like, and then other people, it's
yeah.
like, it's totally new. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a bummer when that happens. Yeah, I can't remember who said it. Was it maybe Jim Gaffigan said that like if you go to a town and entertain them, you know, they'll come for the next one. But if you do the same stuff, they'll still enjoy the show, but they'll be like, I don't need to see the next one. But if you can come back to the same town with a new show every time, then you've got an audience there. And you know they'll keep coming back because they'll be like, "Oh, let's see what he's got this year." And
Yeah.
yeah, I want
Do
to
you
get
ever,
there.
but you do like, because I know like bands, like they want to, people want to hear the hits. Like, is there certain
Right.
hits that you do every time because that's like a crowd favorite or something?
Uh no. No, no. I mean, I no, I would never I mean, no, I don't think I have a crowd. at all. So I wouldn't do that. Like I think Seinfeld has some quote that's like, I don't want to see your new hour. I want to see your best hour. But it's like I want to see your new hour. Maybe just I'm like a
Me
comedy
too. Yeah.
nerd. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'm
want
like
to see
that
the new
too.
stuff.
Yeah. Cause if you've already heard a joke, it's really not, why do you need to hear it? You already know the punchline. It's not, doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right. I think people don't mind it as much with comedy as people think. Like it's not that people are like, oh, I've heard this before, but they'll be like, oh yeah, that's, but you can't do it again. You get one of those, per audience, per location.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, because it's like, I
yeah,
mean, think about if like Chappelle did that every time, like,
yeah,
because kids want to say like, "Oh, I'm Rick James, bitch," and all that stuff
yeah,
from
yeah,
Chappelle show. What if he was still doing that? Where he's
yeah.
not. He's like totally moved on. He's done so much more new material, and of course, it's
Mm,
all brilliant. But it's
mm,
like, he has so many good jokes. Like, you couldn't even do a Chappelle greatest hits because there's so many good bits. Like, it would take 2 hours.
yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Um, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I mean, it's all about like hitting that ratio of like uh new bits versus tried and tested bits, even in a not performing for your own fans like Chappelle is doing, but like just out and doing sets. You can't do all new bits because then it'll just
Hmm.
suck. So you have to, and you can't do all tried and tested bits. Otherwise, I mean, you're not learning anything. So
Right.
you have to just internally gauge like, okay, how much new stuff can I afford to do at this venue for this crowd and still get booked? That's the challenge for every comic that hasn't like made it. I mean, all those guys that you saw at the store,
Right.
uh, they've all made it to the point where they're not worried about getting booked again. But for comics like me, you got to just get that ratio right so that you're still improving,
Yeah.
but you're still doing a good job. You still have to entertain the crowd. Like your job is not your first job is not like to get better as an artist or whatever. It's to like entertain these people that paid money to be here. You have to do a good job. But then once that's accomplished, you can kind of, there's a little wiggle room. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Well, and it's because like, yeah, so like for you, like if you went to like if you came to Phoenix, for example, you're from New York, you're a New York comedian.
Mm,
So the only people that would know you here are people who will follow you online. But you
I
have some
guess.
fan base, but then there's some people that are just gonna go to the comedy club because they just like comedy and they're like, oh, here's a guy, I don't know, he's probably funny, and so they don't know your material. So like you're kind of like what you're saying is you have to kind of play to both crowds.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there's a very unlikely scenario because I mean, for me to perform in Phoenix, to go out there, I would have to have such a big fan base that the club would book me to do it, which I don't have yet. I'm sure I do have some people in Phoenix. You might be
Oh,
the only
you could,
one.
yeah. I mean, I feel like you got the special, you got 10,000 Instagram. I've seen comedians with smaller social media followings do the comedy. I mean, there's so many comedy clubs here.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, maybe not like the Improv, that's a pretty big one, but some of the other
Yeah.
ones.
You're
And
in you're in Phoenix right now?
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Scottsdale technically, but yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, the whole Phoenix Scottsdale area, it's like huge. Like it's so,
Hmm.
because I'm originally from Seattle, and then
Ah,
in Seattle, it's like every different neighborhood is like a different city, and here it's like Phoenix is like it's like an hour or an hour and a half from like North Phoenix to South Phoenix. It's
oh
crazy
wow.
because it's like
Jeez.
just so much land. Land is cheap. It's desert. It's like it's
Yeah.
spread out. Not like
Oh
New York.
wow.
The opposite.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if you the thing is like Instagram followers obviously the more the better for getting booked, but you the venue has to like sell tickets. So they have to know. I can't just be like I have 10,000 of them, so probably some of them are in Phoenix, you know.
Yeah.
And even if there are, I don't know, 50 people there, like are they going to buy tickets? It's,
Well, that's what I'm
no
saying.
guarantee.
I think some of these comedy clubs, like people just go to the comedy club. They
Hmm.
might not know the comedian, but they're like, "Hey, what do you want to do tonight? Let's go to the comedy club." And they don't know. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I used to be. Like before the internet and stuff, I'd go to comedy clubs. Like
Hmm.
I would say 90% of the time, I didn't know who the comedian was or had never seen their material. But I like going to the comedy club, and so usually most comedians are funny. But when I'm young, it's like you go
Yeah.
have a drink, watch a comedian. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah.
if there's enough people like that, they don't need me to come out, they could just get whoever's around, you know.
Yeah, I guess that's so. Is it hard to tour then? Do you just mostly do
Yeah.
shows in New York?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have enough of a following to like, you know, put a to like go to a place and be like, hey, I'm here, and then have enough people actually come. Uh, but you know, I've like opened for people that have touring, and that's a good way to sort of break in. Yeah, it's mostly just places that are within an hour's commute of New York is where I mostly do. Uh, but if you know, if you talk me up around the water cooler in Phoenix,
Yeah.
maybe I'll hit a critical mass.
Well, just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I think that
Mm.
special is got a lot of eyes on it, and you just keep doing specials and the clips. The clips are, I think, what really
Mm.
sell it, right?
Yeah, I mean the clips are the yeah, that is my main strategy is to build a following through the clips on Instagram and TikTok and everything, and just hope that it gets enough that I just bootstrap it into more and more stuff. Yeah, that's my only real career plan, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I found you. I mean, it was the I think it was the welcome at joke
Oh
that
yeah.
I won't spoil it. Like people need to watch the special or at least watch that clip. But that's a great one. That was like so clever. It's just and
Oh,
then
thanks.
the whole special is like that. I mean, the whole thing. Like we watched it last night with my girlfriend. She was laughing a
Mhm.
bunch too. So I was like, okay,
Oh, great.
this is good.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, that's a popular one. There is no welcome mat like that, by the way. I should not that you asked, but like that was the welcome mat that inspired that joke was just it was like a rainbow one. And I think it said like it had a couple, it wasn't exactly as I described it. It was sort of what I'm making fun of is like that plus those yard signs that are like in this house, you know, we believe blah 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
still think it works. It's just sometimes people have asked, like, is there really a welcome? Like, no, they don't. They don't make
Right,
welcome
yeah.
ads like that. But they might as
There
well,
are
I
those
think.
signs though. In this house, we do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way about the signs, and I still think it's funny. It's just that the joke doesn't land quite as hard if you're just like, how about those signs? You know, because you need the welcome in there. Anyway, thank
It
you.
is,
I
yeah.
like that joke too.
It is great. Yeah. It's just because it's making fun of, I mean, it's just so weird. It's like everyone has to like be on this like team now or something. Like you got to be like, hey, I'm on this team. Okay. Just want to let everybody know this is what I
Yeah, yeah,
believe. And it's like, we used to
right.
just not, everyone would just kind of like, you'd have like, yeah, you wouldn't have these like signs. You just, it was like a welcome. Like everyone was just, everything was like kind of more normal, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. It
And
seems,
I found that there's not really a political uh, appeal to that joke. I mean, people have put their own political appeal onto it, but I
sure.
guess what I mean is people from both
Yeah.
sides like that joke. Like
Yeah.
I do it in the Brooklyniest part of Brooklyn, and people are like, "Yeah," you know. And then I feel like the red state appeal is a little bit more obvious because it's like it's kind of a woke welcome mat thing. So it's
Right.
like if I'm like making fun of it, then in the comments I'll get a lot of people being like, yeah, you know, but the liberaliest liberals also laugh at that joke because they know it's ridiculous. So yeah, that's why I like it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what makes, I think, good comedy. I mean, to me, I think a lot of good comedy, like you kind of laugh at both sides, like the extremes, and it kind of
Mm,
brings everybody together. We all go, yeah, we are kind of ridiculous. We're all ridiculous. That's just life.
yeah.
Life is ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what your whole special is just like, it's so many things that are just relatable and it's not divisive comedy or whatever, but it's also
Mm,
not like totally like safe or anything. I mean, it's like it's fun.
right.
Like you're swearing and stuff. Like it's good.
Yeah, thanks. No, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I don't want to be like, I don't want to like just make fun of a particular group of people, you know, and then everybody that's not in the room goes like, yeah, you
Right.
know, fuck those people, or that's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm also not trying to like do totally self-deprecating material, but somewhere in the middle, I guess is what I'm trying to do.
You had some good self-deprecating things.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, you gotta do a mix. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I hope that continues to do well. Um, yeah.
Yeah, the ghost joke was
Oh,
really
thanks.
good too. Is that you? I'm assuming you probably posted that one as a clip too.
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, that's funny. That was like a really old idea that I had. like years ago. And then I was at my friend's house in Michigan. I've got a friend in Michigan who like runs comedy shows in his backyard and at his church. He's like a pastor at a church. And I like that's where I like ran this hour for the first time
Mm.
is with him. And I was just running through my notebook and oh no, wait, it wasn't even the notebook. That's right. I was just like saying it offhand. Like I didn't even think of it as a bit. And he was like, oh, is that in your special? I'm like, no, no. And he's like, you should do that. And then I did. And yeah, it was one of the biggest laughs, I think. But yeah, sometimes you don't realize stuff is bits until you just say it to somebody and they laugh. And you're like, oh, I guess that is a joke. Like to me, it was just like yeah, I don't know what to call it, just a thing to say. Like, wait, how does that one go? It's not important. Anyway, yeah, all credit to my buddy Drew for that one.
Yeah. No, I thought it was really clever. And there was a lot of things like that. Like, I think that's the whole thing of comedy is like, what did they like? I heard it described once as like, you're getting people to like stand on this rug and then you pull the rug out from under them and then you move the rug and you get them to go over here. Then you pull the rug out.
Mm,
That's kind of like what your special is. Like you're getting them to go this certain direction and then pulling in
mm,
a different direction. And yeah, it's like unpredictable. I guess that's like kind
yeah.
of what I was saying earlier about like some comedy is like, I can kind of predict the jokes like before they tell
Mm.
it. But like with yours, it's not like that. You do a good job of making it unpredictable.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. It's funny because I feel like some comics go too far with the unpredictable. You,
Really? Give me an example.
yeah, I can't. But like maybe when I say other comics, I mean like me when I'm trying to write a joke. Like the goal isn't just to say something out of left field. Oh, I know the perfect example. Like there's a whole class of jokes that are like, mom, like anyway, so this lady was saying like you got to get a job and you're pathetic and then I'm like, mom, and it's like you
Oh
realize
yeah.
like you were talking to your mom the whole time. That like so many beginning comics do jokes like that. And
Oh,
it's like it's fine, it's like ah ha ha, but it's too unpredictable. It's like the whole joke is that it's unpredictable. It's like, oh, I didn't realize you were talking to your mom. It has to be a little bit predictable. It has
yeah.
to be like, if you gave me enough time, I could figure out where this is going, but I get there first. And then you're like, oh, right, that's it. You have to have this like feeling like, I think I know where he's going. And then you get hit with the punchline. You're like, that's it. That's what I was about to think.
I'm thinking like Anthony Jeselnik when you said that. Like I feel like he does a lot of jokes like that
Mm,
where you think it's gonna go like, but then it's like if you know his style, you know
right.
that's what he's gonna do. He's gonna do that's exactly that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, you
Yeah.
think it's like a safe joke, but then you know he's going to the dirtier, more like risky place or whatever. And so it's
Yeah.
almost like you kind of do predict it with him because he's Anthony Jeselnik and that's his thing.
Right. With him, I almost like can't watch him anymore because I'm just trying to figure it out like a puzzle. And then
Yeah.
it's distracting from the just being entertained. It's like playing chess or something. You're like, okay, if he goes there, like, oh, maybe what if he said this? So yeah, but there's like a middle ground where it's like you think you think I'm gonna say this and then I say this, but it's not completely out of left field. It's like sort of in it's like it's hard to describe. And maybe if I could describe it perfectly, then it wouldn't be funny. So it's good there's some mystery to it. But
Yeah.
but yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to be a little bit unpredictable.
No, it's good. Like, so did you pretty much like learn how to do comedy in China? Because isn't that where you like
Mm,
started a lot of your comedy career was doing open mics in China, which is so crazy.
yeah.
They even have that.
Yeah. Well, it's like expat comedy. It's like the expat scene. They yeah, there was just I was living in Beijing and there was an open mic and I had a friend that really wanted to go and do improv and stand up and I went for the improv and hated it and then there was stand up afterwards and I thought I like got one laugh or something and I was like, oh, sweet. And I just did it for the rest of my life. Uh yeah, but most people are like, oh, you did it in China, but it wasn't like in Chinese. It was in
Right.
English for expats. But yeah, it was a great place to start. It's very remote. You're not going to see anybody that you know. Nobody's going to see you bomb.
Hmm.
So I don't know how people start like in New York. If I started in New York, I would have either thought that I sucked so much, which I would have, but I would have gotten discouraged, I think. I would have been like, oh, I can't do this, and then just stopped doing it. Or I would have like got overconfident, and then I would have like sent tapes to all the clubs and then like burned all my bridges and stuff. And then yeah, so I'm glad I started in a place where nobody knew who I was, and
That would have
I could
burned your
just,
bridges if you sent.
oh, sorry. Yeah, that's not the right word. I just mean like you don't want to like expose yourself too early as a comic. Like you don't want like you don't want like bookers to see you too early. Like if you're like you've been doing comedy for like six
Oh,
months and you're
okay.
like, I think I got a really good
Yeah.
5 minutes, and you're like, you see so and so over there who like books this club, and you're like, can you watch my set? And then they watch it, and then you like bomb, or you do a bunch of mom jokes, and then they're like, okay, thanks. I mean, they might give you another chance in
Yeah.
5 years, but you've just pushed back the clock. Like
Oh,
you want them to see you when you're already good, which is tough. I mean, you do want to move up as fast as possible, but you also need to be good first, which means you need to be bad first. So you need space to bomb.
hmm.
You can't just like, yeah, anyway, I don't know. People start in New York all the time, so it's not, I'm sure they do it somehow, but I like the fact that I started in a place where I could bomb many, many times, and it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, because your major in Princeton was computer
Mm,
science. So did
yeah,
you do like theater? Did you always have an interest in that, like in high school and college, or did you never even do any
no,
of that stuff?
not at all. Yeah,
Really?
never would have thought that I would do comedy. I mean, I liked comedy. I watched all the like Comedy Central presents, all that stuff when I was a kid, but I just thought that there's no way I could do that because I'm not like a
Really?
performy
Wow.
person. Yeah, and then it wasn't until in Beijing at the open mic. I think what really made me think I could do it is watching other people do it that weren't funny and still get laughs. And I was like, oh, these people are getting like I can do that, you know. If it was if I went to this open mic and everybody was crushing and with like amazing material and like, like if my first time going was at like the store or the cellar or something, I would have been like, oh, this isn't for me. Like I can't do this. I had to see a bunch of a bunch of schlubs do it and still get laughs. And I was like, okay, yeah, I could maybe do this. Also, the fact that like comedy is very diverse, uh, I guess in every sense, but like there's all sorts of different kinds of comics. There's like Fahim who's like very high energy, and like if I saw a room full of Fahims, I would be like, no, 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 I can't do that. But you start to see people that are like, oh, okay, he's kind of low energy and he's got like thoughtful material. He doesn't talk fast or loud. I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a guy like Stephen Wright. When you said low energy, I was like, that's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the most. But he's hilarious. Like he's just got the
Yeah, yeah.
one-liners, and I mean, that is such a different style than like a Dane Cook or something.
Mm,
And yet, I mean, they both work. So
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, I could never be Dane Cook. Uh, I don't think I couldn't be Dave Chappelle. I don't think I could be Jim Gaffigan. But I feel like there are certain comics where, I mean, they're great, but I feel like, oh, I could do that. Like that thing that he's doing, I could get close to there if I work really hard.
yeah, because see, to me, I always think the hardest thing is the crowd work. I feel like that would be
Mm,
so hard to just be in the moment. But then when you talk to comedians, they're like, "Oh, crowd work's the easiest." It's really
yeah.
hard to write a good joke, and I'm like, "Oh,
Mm,
interesting." It's like because to me, it's like crowd work is like you got to think of something on the spot. That's like so
mm,
hard. Whereas like if you're crafting a joke, you could take weeks, months, years to write it or whatever, and you take your time, and then you can make it work. Whereas like if you don't you think about something in the 5 seconds on stage, like it's over.
yeah. Well, some people are really good at that. I feel like crowd work, I mean, you do get better with experience for sure, but I feel like it's easier than it looks to non-comics. Like it's not really like you're thinking. It's not like you're sitting there being like, if what should I say? What would be a good comeback for that? It's just you kind of just say the first thing that comes to your mind, and
Oh.
if the audience is already on your side, they'll kind of laugh no matter what, or you'll get to a place where he says something and then it's much more natural than it seems. No, I don't think
Yeah.
any comedians are like, how can like type 1 and type 2 thinking where like there's like rational analytical and versus like snap decision making. Crowd work is all snap decision making. It's like improv. Like have you ever done improv?
Right. Yeah, in college, it took like classes and acting classes, and we would play those like games and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
it's
I
fun.
feel like there's not a lot of thinking in improv. It's just kind of like you're not like trying to be funny. You're just kind of like
Hmm.
completing the scene, or just like yes and that's kind of what crowd work is. It's actually a lot harder to fail doing crowd work than it is to succeed. Is that what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Yeah, it's harder to fail because if the audience already likes you,
Okay.
then they want you to win.
And is some
Um,
of it like you kind of have these like comebacks to people like with hecklers and things like that? Like you've practiced lines that you know are going to work when somebody does
yeah,
or says this thing or it's like because I feel like a lot of the questions that people ask the people in the audience are a lot of the same kinds of things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, people have replies. I mean, for me, it's usually amounts to just telling them to shut up, and that is funny in itself. I mean, maybe it's like coming from me, who's sort of a quieter guy, just being like, "Excuse me, could you shut the fuck up, please?" Like, or that, you know what I mean? Like, but that doesn't work for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
um, but I just don't leave the door open for that. Like, people don't tend to shout things at me. I don't solicit responses from people. I don't like ask people questions. Uh, and most hecklers are also like trying to help. They're not, it's very rare that you have people be like, hey, fuck you, or whatever. Like, it's usually just some drunk ladies thinking that nobody can hear her, or like somebody being like, oh, I have something funny too. And then it's usually the case that the audience doesn't want that person to continue talking, and you can just say something dismissive. Um, but also there's this publication effect where it's like you're seeing crowd work that you're seeing the highlights of crowd work, like on reels. Like if you do an hour show and then you talk to the crowd for, I don't know, 20 minutes or whatever, most of it is not going to be post worthy. But maybe there was like one moment where someone said something outrageous and you were like, whoa, lady lady does this, uh, and then you can post it, and then so it seems like some people are like better at crowd work than they maybe actually are if you go to their shows. You
Sure.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you're
Like I
seeing
just
like the
yeah.
highlight reel.
But sometimes those are the funniest parts of the show because
Yeah.
it's unscripted and it's like in
Mm.
the moment and it's so real. And
Yeah.
sometimes there are like some really good moments like that. Usually like where the comedian's like ripping on someone in the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, that's always like can be real. Like I just saw Ben. I don't know if you know. Is it Ben Bankus? I think that's how you say it.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't think so.
he just came him and his opener were both like they were both just
Hmm.
making fun of people in the audience. I mean, the people they deserved it because they were like they were heckling, and so
Yeah.
then the comedians like heckle back basically.
Mm.
It's like it was pretty damn funny. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it can be really good. Who's really good? Like Stavros is really good at it.
Oh yeah,
And I always love Phil Hanley when he does. Have you ever seen his clips?
that
He
sounds
does.
familiar. I'm trying. I can't place him right now, but I
Yeah, it's usually like there's like a chick in the audience that he's like hitting on, but with crowd work. And I don't have a good example, but it's really fun to watch. I
and
just
Sam
don't.
Morrill. I feel like his
Yeah, yeah,
audience is
yeah. He does a lot of stuff. It's yeah. I worry a lot about crowd work influencing comedy itself. I mean, maybe
hmm,
more than I should, but I feel like there's with all the crowd work clips, the audience is starting to have a different expectation of what a show is, and like,
hmm.
is it going to get to a point where audiences are like bolder because they think like, no, 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 they want me to heckle so they can shut me down. There's sort of a debate
Hmm.
in comedy about it, but I'm
Interesting.
definitely on I would prefer less crowd work, maybe just because I'm bad at it, but I did make like I made a sketch about it. I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram, but like
No.
it's like a couple, like a Midwestern couple arrives in New York, and they're like being interviewed on the street, and they're like, yeah, we're just so excited to be here in the comedy capital of the world, and like we've just, we love the clips, the comedy clips. We're just so excited to see, the stars of these clips, like the audience. We just want to see some funny audience members. And they're like, who's your
Oh,
favorite
funny.
audience? Like guy who brought his mom, and like lady who had one too many margaritas. Like we just think they're so talented. Anyway, you can watch the thing, but like,
That's perfect.
that's the kind of thing that I like. Yeah, I worry about a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think what isn't the most controversial one for that right now is Matt Rife, because everyone says like I think it's somebody said I haven't seen it, but I thought somebody said that his whole new special was all crowd work or something.
Oh
And
yeah, I don't know. Matt Rife has fallen off of my algorithm recently,
oh,
so
really?
I
Okay.
don't
Because
really
I
I don't
feel
really
like
know what he's doing.
he's like controversial. Like a lot of other comedians don't like him. That's what the vibe
Mm,
I get. I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know. It seems fine to me. I mean, I wouldn't personally buy a ticket to go see him, but it's it's a big comedy world.
he's
Uh,
he's not a New York comedian, is he?
I don't think so. No,
Okay. You never saw him in the clubs or whatever.
I've never seen him around. I think, yeah, he's got to be. I actually don't know where he's from. I would assume California, but maybe
Oh,
not.
well, that's yeah, that probably makes sense. Because I mean, you're in the New York comedy scene, even though you said you don't go to the open mics, but I mean, when you perform, you're in those clubs, so you see a lot of
Hmm.
the New York comedians, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I see him around. Um, yeah, I've not seen Matt Rife. Uh, I feel like yeah, there's sort of something that happens in New York, or at least the clubs where I'm at, where like if a comic gets big enough, they sort of get sucked up by the cellar. And then if you're not
Mm.
at the cellar, you don't see them as much
Hmm.
anymore. I feel like that's happened to a bunch. Like I feel like I used to see Mark Normand and Joe List and Sam Morril a lot. And then yeah, and then now it's like only when they're like, oh, I guess they're touring a lot too. That's something that
Yeah.
happens. But yeah, I guess because the cellar's schedule is very demanding, and a lot of like comics will make themselves more available in case like the seller calls, or they have to do something last minute. They'll like cancel their other spot at a lesser club where I perform, and they'll go do that one. But yeah, I feel like I don't see that many comics around anymore where I'm like, oh, I gotta see. I did see. I saw Shang Wang recently. He was in town to do his solo show. Do you know Shang Wang?
No.
I feel like you would. I feel like anybody that likes me would like Shang Wang 10 times more. He's just
I'll have
he's
to check him out.
yeah, Shengwang. He opened for Ali Wong for a long time, but
Okay.
Chinese guy with long hair. But he's just very like observational, and I
Oh.
think he's like the true what's the word? Not predecessor, successor of like Mitch Hedberg,
Oh, I
you know?
love Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, I feel like you would like Shang Wang. It's just
Oh,
like
okay. Do you think is he pretty big, or do you think I could get him on my podcast? Like,
maybe, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. If you've got Mark Normand, you could probably get Shang Wang. He doesn't do a lot of social media in general.
hmm.
Like he doesn't post clips, so he's kind of a hard guy to find. But
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's kind of like uh what was the guy I just had on, like not just had on, it was a few years ago, Ronan Hirschberg. I think you follow
oh
him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I had him on too, like a few years ago, and he barely had done any clips, but I found
Mm,
something that was really funny, and I was like, dude, will you do my podcast? And then like he eventually did it. Like first time he didn't show up, and he goes, sorry, I did a bunch of mushrooms. I can't do your podcast. And I was like,
that's funny.
okay. And then he showed up later and did it, and then I was like, oh, this guy's like so funny. And then now he's doing he just did Rogan
Mm,
recently.
yeah,
And I was
that's
like,
amazing.
but yeah, like that was a thing I noticed with him. Like he didn't have that many followers because he didn't do much social media. Then he started posting
Mm,
clips, and then it's like it grew. And that's like I feel like that's just how most comedians make it now. It used to be like you get on the Tonight Show or whatever,
mm,
and that's like that means nothing now. Like it's all about social
yeah.
media.
I know. It's not quite nothing. Like I would still probably do it, but nobody's offered me to do the Tonight Show. So I can't be like, no, I wouldn't. That's nothing. If somebody was like, yeah, I'd do it in a second. But it doesn't, it's almost like, yeah, nobody watches that anymore. Like I don't know. I mean, I guess people in the middle of America watch it, but I don't know. Nobody
Yeah,
ever talks. Nobody says like, "Hey, did you see the Tonight Show last night?"
right. I mean, it's
Um,
not nothing. I mean, it's bigger than my show for sure, but like,
yeah, yeah,
it's just comparatively to like Rogan or social media, I feel like
yeah,
that's how people are being exposed more now. So than the Tonight
yeah.
Show is not
It's
like
also
that's
like,
not the epitome.
yeah, it's also like you can't control the set that you have on the Tonight Show. Like, I know so many comics that I think are funny, and then I see their late night set on, Fallon or Colbert or whatever, and it's like not good. Like they just either because the audience was weird, or the pacing was weird, or it just looked like they weren't. And I'm like, oof, now that's their set, like that's their late night set. Whereas um with social media, you can control what you're putting out there. You can't control what goes
Right.
viral, but at least you can only put your best stuff there. Um, but yeah, like if you're on the Tonight Show, it's like if you have a bad 5 minutes, that's up there forever now. Um, yeah, I think I would still do it. I would still do it just for the credit. But if I it would almost be like a problem, because it's like, oh man, now like what if I bomb on Fallon, and now that's just like on their website forever.
Yeah, but I don't think that stuff matters as much anymore. Like I feel like just people, the news cycle changes so frequently now.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
even if you do something stupid or you bomb or you do like, I feel like people forget about it like a week later.
Oh
You
yeah,
have
that's
to
true.
bomb really bad for people to like, like
Yeah,
I don't think it
right.
would matter. I think that'd be worth the risk for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I would do it. I'm just fantasizing about being asked to do Fallon. And
Yeah,
then
or any of those. Have you had any talks with any of the late night shows or anything?
no, I'm available in case
All
you
right, let's
need.
put that out there into the universe. Like,
Yeah.
I seriously, I think that in a few years, I think you're going to be a lot bigger. I
Oh,
think
thank
it's
you.
going to grow. I mean, like I said, I watch a lot of comedians, so I can tell like which ones are good and which ones are just whatever mediocre comedians. But no, you're really good. I was like the welcome mat joke. I was like, oh, I got to see more of this guy's stuff. And then the whole special's amazing. People should definitely check out. It's free on YouTube too, so
It
that
sure
helps.
is. Yeah, thanks, man. I hope you're right.
Yeah, no, I think I am. Yeah, I think doing the podcast too. I mean, did you get offered to do a lot of podcasts? I mean, I watched a few of them that you did.
Yeah, not a lot. You've probably seen all of them, but yeah, I'm grateful that you wanted to talk to me. I mean, yeah, any audience helps. So thank you.
Yeah, it's tough out there too because I know that you have a day job and you're
Yeah,
a father, and so I mean, it's like you can't just devote all your time and energy to this right now.
no, no, I can't. I mean, my day job is flexible enough that I can put a meeting on my calendar at
Huh.
1 p.m. on a Tuesday, and nobody bothers me about it. So yeah, I am lucky in that respect. But no, I can't just like write jokes all day, unfortunately.
If it got to the point where comedy was a bigger thing, then how would that work? If like that became your full time job, but then you'd have to
Mm.
tour, right? Would you be able to do that with still being a father? Like, how would that work?
It would be a little tricky.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I could tour if it was only on the weekends,
Hmm.
but I feel like that would be tricky. I mean, you don't really get to make that decision when you're starting out. Like if someone said, "Oh, I want you to go on the road with me for 2 weeks," that would be like a problem. I would still do it. We would just get a babysitter or something and like
Hmm.
lose money probably. But yeah, it's weird. I'm at like this sort of perfect uh like point, I guess, in my career where if I got bigger, it would be like sort of logistically a problem. Like we'd have to like
I
spend more
know.
money on childcare and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would ever like sacrifice, seeing my daughter for comedy. At least not totally. I would sacrifice a little bit, a day or two, but I don't want to be like away for like a week or weeks. That can't happen.
Did you say you did do that before though? You toured with somebody? Who did you tour with?
Oh no, I didn't really like tour. I opened for them at one club. Like I opened for Joe Mackey in Philly, and then in Rutherford later. But that was like a one-off
Oh,
weekend.
okay.
It wasn't like on
Yeah.
a tour bus or whatever.
Because I think the weekend shows, I feel like that isn't that for a lot of comedians, that's all they do. Like they're not,
Hmm.
I mean, you have to be a pretty big comedian to do a show on like a Tuesday. Like that's
Yeah,
hard to get
yeah.
people to come out on it too. I mean, even in rock bands too. I interview a lot of rock bands, and I'm like, you
Mm,
got to be a big band to have a show on a Tuesday and have people come out.
right, that's true. I guess what I mean is like some people go like on the road where they're like, okay, this weekend
Yeah,
here, and then I go to Arkansas and then here. I wouldn't be able to string those
right.
weekends together like that. I would have to come back every time, and that would get expensive. Uh, yeah, I also like, comedy clubs will do like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and like maybe one on Sunday. And being away for that long, I feel like I could do it, but basically my wife would get mad at me if I did too many of those because she would have to like get off work early and go pick up our daughter and do all that stuff. So yeah, it'd be a little tricky. I feel like I could hack it. She also is she's a good comedy wife in that she wants me to succeed. She believes in me, like which is good. So I think if I got an opportunity, she would just suck it up and and do the, you know, and help me out. But if I did it a lot, yeah, she would get mad. I would lose some brownie points basically, which
Yeah.
is that's what marriage is all about the brownie points.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's the tough thing about comedy. And like I said, with the rock bands too, I feel like that's what's so interesting. Like the touring stuff, that's what makes me not like when I was a kid, I wanted to, be in a band and stuff. And
Mm,
then I look at these guys' lives and like being in a tour bus and like it's just like, oh, it doesn't seem it's not very as glamorous as you think.
right, yeah. I'm sure it is at like the highest levels, but like
I don't
on the
think
road,
so. I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
just think about just being away from home that much. Like
Mm,
I'm sure like initially you're like, oh, I get to go to Europe and like I'm in, doing a show in France or whatever. But then like eventually, like if you've been touring for like, I mean, some of these guys are in their 60s and 70s. Like I do not want to be
mm,
traveling like 100, 200 days a year when I'm that old. I feel like that would be like stressful. Even if you're in a private jet, I feel like it would just be annoying.
yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. It's a good thing it's a good thing we're not a private jet level.
I
But
mean, it would be
yeah.
cool to have the private jet for like vacations though, because I hate traveling
Oh yeah, totally.
commercial. Like that isn't, I'm sure you
Yeah.
feel the same, like going through
Yeah.
security and all that crap.
Right. I would like that life for just 2 days at a time. I think that would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, if that's your whole life, no. Yeah, I guess I just want to have my cake and eat it too. Like I want to tour and then come back and spend
right.
time with my daughter and then get sick of her and go on the road again. And then, no, not really. I'm just, I do
No,
think
I
that
think,
like
yeah,
a day or two is the perfect vacation
the
from
one-offs.
yeah,
Like, yeah,
from a 5-year-old, like you don't have kids, do you?
no,
Okay. My daughter is wonderful, of course, but she's
yeah,
also like a lot, so like
sure.
having like a day of just like, all right, I don't have to answer 10,000 questions right now. I can just like travel like when I like go away and like I'm at the airport or something and like there's a plane delay, it doesn't bother me at all because I'm just like, oh, I just get to sit by myself for a few hours. It's awesome. Like as opposed to, if she were there, being delayed would be a nightmare because she would like get,
Right.
need yeah, the thousand things. But yeah, I like being alone for like a day or two. And then I start to miss her and my wife and stuff. And then I'd like to come back. So yeah, I guess I'd like to be successful, but I just want to skip to the part where you can control your own schedule. I don't want to
No, I
like,
mean, I think that's
yeah.
realistic though. Like the weekend show, like the one-off. So that would be good. Like if you
Mm,
just did like Friday, Saturday, like you come into Phoenix on a Friday, you do a Friday,
yeah.
Saturday show, fly home Sunday. Like that would be reasonable, right?
Yeah. Boom. Yeah.
Okay.
Tell the club I'll do it.
Or what about do you ever go to have you ever done like the Kill Tony show or do you ever watch those guys? Like
Yeah. No, I would never do Kill Tony.
really?
No, I mean, they get like 1 minute. Is that right? To
I
do
don't know
their
what the
set?
rules are, yeah. But yeah, I think you would kill it.
Oh, thanks. No, I can't handle Kill Tony. I've like tried to watch some of it. It just doesn't, some about like pro comics shitting on very new comics for like publicly doesn't sit right with me. Like some of these people like just started and then like they go and they bomb and then Tony will just like rip into him, and it's like, oof, Like, I wouldn't want that to be me.
Yeah, you wonder why those people go up there. Like, do they think that they're ready, and
I
then they
think
just?
yeah, I think they think this is their shot and they're going to be Hans Kim or whatever, who's like the only guy I can think of that really made it off of Kill Tony. And then they like, yeah, I don't know. Oof, yeah, is it just something about it I don't like. I would never do it personally, nor would I recommend it. Yeah, I think that's actually a good example of like what I was talking about. Like, don't let yourself be seen too early.
Yeah. Okay, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
bomb in secret and then go do Kill Tony. No, don't do Kill Tony. It's really hard to
Or,
be funny in 1 minute, you
yeah.
know?
Or what about the like Rogan's Club down there? Like, it seems like they're kind of building a scene in
Mm,
Austin. It seems like, and that's like how a lot of those guys they do the Rogan's Club, and then he sees you, then you get on his podcast, and his podcast has like some millions of followers or whatever.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I mean, is he like inviting people on his podcast that he's just seen at the club?
I don't know. I would think that that's how you get recognized. I mean, because he's there. I would assume he's there a lot. I mean, it's
Hmm.
his club, and like, I mean, I
Yeah.
always see like pictures of comedians there, and then I try to like. That's how I sometimes find comedians too, because I go, oh, okay, who's this guy? Let me look up his stuff.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just seems like a lot of comedians are getting exposure there. I guess is.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I actually don't know that much about the comedy mothership. I've never been there, but yeah, I would guess that the best way to get exposure is not like I mean, it used to be that going to a club was the best way to get seen, but I feel like now it's putting your stuff on social media where you can control it a little more and it has the potential to really blow up. The likelihood of you getting seen by Rogan at his club is, I would guess, pretty low.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, you probably know better than I do. I don't know.
Yeah, unless he is there. I actually don't know his how often he's there. But the other thing is like it's not fun to watch a lot of new comics, you know, unless it's like your job. But I would just guess that like if I were Rogan, I would not go hang out at my comedy club and just watch a bunch
Oh,
of new
that's
comics.
really because that's what it seems like. I mean, he talks about it like he does. I mean, maybe he doesn't do it all the time, but I feel like there's a
Mm,
lot. Like I see pictures and stuff where he's in the green room, and that's where he goes and performs because he wants to. That's like his home club now. Basically, it used to be the Comedy Store when he was in LA,
yeah.
but then now it's
Oh, I
like.
mean, I'm sure he sees like people that are already on the show with him. I mean, to get on one of those showcases, you have to be like at least a little bit good. I thought you meant like a newer
Oh,
comic
no, no,
booking.
no, no, no. I think you could get on there. I think that, right?
Mm.
No, I don't
Oh, I
know.
guess so. I don't know. I
You're
don't
not
know
like
who to.
nobody. Like you got a special, and
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know who to email about that, but yeah, maybe if I go to Austin, I'll definitely try it. I don't know if I would like make a trip out there just hoping to get on it, but
yeah.
yeah, no, I would definitely do the mothership if somebody booked me on it.
Yeah, I'll try. We'll put that out in the universe too.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as it's a night
Talk it up
show.
around the water cooler.
Yeah. What is next for you? Because obviously the specials out now and the clips are all coming out and everything. So then, are you just working on the next special? Is that the next project?
Yeah, basically, I'm probably like 75% there, and
Oh
then
wow.
yeah, I will probably record something next year, and so I haven't booked anything yet, but yeah, I'll just hire a videographer, I guess, and uh, you know, turn it into. I also want to turn it into an album again because that's like been a source of a small amount of revenue is having it played on Sirius through the album.
I've heard that
So
too. Yeah, like
yeah,
Sirius, they pay well, which is nice to hear.
yeah, I mean, it's more than I thought that I was going to get paid. I thought it was going to be one of those like, oh, they played your track once, you get 17 cents, but it's closer to $17 actually per play. So, make a couple hundred a month from Sirius plays. So if I had another album in there and then get another one, and then that could be a nice little revenue stream.
Yeah, because I think
But
Liz Mealy told me that
mm,
she pays her rent through
yeah,
Sirius, all the clips that she has on there.
yeah, yeah. No, she told me that too. She's got like 5 albums though, I think. That's
Yeah.
like Um, yeah, I would love to. I mean, if I could be Liz Miele, I would be her. Liz Miele. I don't know. I don't know how to say her name exactly, but if I could just be her, that'd be great.
No, yeah, she's so yeah, you're friends with her 'cause she's part of the New York scene.
Mhm.
She's doing perfect. She's got her own specials. She's got a nice little following. She got a nice little tour going, and
Yeah, I think she's got a book too, or she's
yeah,
written
I bought her
two
book.
books.
It's about
Oh, great.
I think I got it somewhere. It's called like something about like why cats suck or why cats are stupid or
Mm,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's doing it right. I feel like she's good. She like knows what she's doing, and she's got a good like comedy business mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and also super nice.
Yeah,
Um,
super nice. Are you friends
yeah.
with a lot of the New York comedians like that?
Um, yeah, I guess I wouldn't say that I have a lot of like famous friends that you would have heard of, but yeah, I
Well,
mean, we're
people that I've
all
had on my
friendly.
show that I think that I'm a fan of, like Dan Wilder,
Oh,
Liz
oh,
Glazer, and Liz
oh,
Mealy.
I know Liz. Yeah, yeah. The other Liz. Yes,
Yeah,
Liz Glazer is super nice.
yeah.
And yeah, I see her around a lot. Yeah, I guess I don't know Normand that well. I think he might, if he saw me, he'd be like, he'd pretend that he knows who I am. But I don't really know a lot of
Is that a move that people do? Like,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean comics because like you don't want to get caught not knowing somebody important, so most comics will just like pretend that they know everybody. They'll be like, "Oh, hey man, good to see you again."
isn't that thing like that meme, the Tiger Woods, where he's like, "What up, dog?" or whatever, where he's, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh shit. Yeah,
Uh,
it's like a meme. It's like Tiger Woods. He's like,
uh,
forget what it's like. I think he says like, "What's up, dog?" It's like it was like a viral meme a few months ago or something.
oh,
Where,
gotcha.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, we do like bring it in and then do the little, it's not a hug, but I don't know what you call it. But yeah, I've done that to so many people that I do not know who they are at all. And they've done the same to me. And
Just call him Big Dog or whatever, like Tiger.
yeah, hey, big
Yeah.
dog. Oh, hey, man,
Hey,
what's
Big
up?
Dog.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, how's it going? Oh, yeah, good.
You
And then
still
just,
doing the comedy thing?
yeah,
Nothing specific.
right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like there's people that I've like met that they would know my face, but no, I don't really have that many famous friends. But
Yeah, because like when you were at
yeah.
Princeton, you like, I was going to ask you about Princeton because I was like, oh, like
Mm,
there's so many famous people that went to Princeton, like David Duchovny,
mm.
and who did my show, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
he was promoting his music. So like,
Ah, that's
yeah,
cool.
and like Brooke Shields went
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
Jimmy Stewart, and then there was like some actress that I was like, oh, I wonder if he knows her. But then I was like, wait, his major was computer science, and you did nothing in the theater or comedy world there.
No. Oh, you mean what's her name from Kimmy Schmidt?
Molly, somebody, Molly
Uh,
Ephraim or something from Last Man
oh,
Standing.
oh,
He
I
was
don't know
there when you
her.
were there, so that's why I was like, oh, I wonder if he like knows her. Or, like,
Oh, I think we have a mutual friend. But no, I don't. I don't know
is
her. I don't
Princeton?
think.
It's pretty small, right? Or
Yeah, it's pretty small. If I were in the theater or the comedy community there, I probably would have known them. But no, I don't think I have any famous Princeton friends.
Jeff Bezos went to Princeton. I didn't know. I was like
Wait,
looking it
did
up.
he?
I was like, damn, Jeff Bezos went there. Like, I'm just so
Ah,
fascinated by Ivy League because like I'm not that smart. So like I look at Princeton and those
hmm.
kinds of things. I'm like, wow, people that go there. I mean, like you ever had your IQ tested? I mean, you must be up there to be able to get into Princeton.
I don't know. I think I tested well, but I don't think I'm like smart, smart. I my dad went there and his dad went there. So I think that helped a little bit. I mean, they didn't like buy a wing of the school for me or whatever, but I think just the fact that when they say that it doesn't count, but I
Yeah.
think when they look at it and they're like, "Oh, wow, he's a double legacy." That's got to count for something. So I think that probably helped. But the joke's on them because they're not getting a dime out of me in terms of the donations. I'm sure that's why they do it because they think like, oh, well,
Oh,
he's got a family connection. He's gonna
okay.
support, they're always sending me what do you call alumni giving emails. I'm not giving you more money. It's like, what do you John Mulaney has a great bit about that. Like like, hey, it's been a while since you donated. Yeah, it's been a while since you taught and housed me.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the $200,000 that I gave you? You spent it already? And yeah,
Yeah.
he's got a whole thing about it.
Oh, there's a comedian from Ohio. Oh God, what is his name? It's so funny. He does this whole bit about when they try to collect the money for financial aid and stuff. Oh God,
Oh yeah,
I should
yeah.
send you that. God, that guy is he's like so underrated. I forget now, I'm spacing on his name, but he's so hilarious. He does a whole bit about that. He reads this, like wrote him this letter, the financial aid office, and how he's not going to get
Uh,
money. And yeah, I mean, that whole thing is like, college is such an interesting, the financial aspect of it is, it's like, it's kind of a scam for some people. I mean, if you're not going
yeah,
to
yeah,
Princeton, you're going to just like this state university that's, and getting like a bachelor of humanities or something. It's kind of almost a scam.
yeah. Somebody said, man, who has the joke about like, oh, I think it's Neal Brennan. Is like you should think about college like a personal, like a business. Oh yeah, like oh yeah,
Yes.
it's like getting a business loan or something.
Yeah.
And like maybe you're not such a good business idea. Wait, do you
Right.
mind if we pause while I let this delivery person in?
Oh yeah,
Can
sure.
you
Absolutely.
can you do?
Recording. All right, we're back, and
We're back.
we had a
Sorry about
commercial.
that.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. I mean, we can wrap this up. I'm sure you got other things
Oh
to
yeah, yeah.
do.
I will have to go in a minute.
Yeah, because I think you had to go pick up your daughter or something, right?
Oh well, not until like 4 or something. I just meant like I didn't want to like start it now and then like
Yeah. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
or
No.
start it at 4. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Whatever we were college. Yeah. College is a scam.
college, yeah, yeah. What? Oh yeah, yeah. You should watch the. Oh no, wait, it was yeah Neal Brennan, the Neal Brennan bit. So
No,
good.
I've seen that. Yeah, that is. I forgot who that was, but I remember that bit. That's a great bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because
or
was
some.
that from his newest special? That was a good one.
Yeah, I think it might have been. Um, yeah, I think somebody also has one about like it's like Shark Tank. Like imagine pitching yourself on Shark Tank. Like, all right, I'm gonna go to college. Like here's the business plan. I'm gonna go to college and then I'm gonna binge drink and black out every night. And then I'm gonna, like waste all my parents' money, blah 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 blah. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, it's kind of a scam.
It's crazy because I got a master's in psychology, and so I was like, and then when I remember though when I moved from Seattle to here to Phoenix, and it was like the job, it was like 2008, right? So I sold my
Mhm.
house at the best time, but I moved I tried to get a new job at the worst time. So I was like applying to everything, and I just couldn't even get a response. So then I remember like applying to Best Buy. I was like, all right, I just need a
Mhm.
job, and I had 3 interviews and I didn't get the job, and I was like, I have a
Oh
master's
man,
degree, and they're like, no.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, that was nuts. That was bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I can't say that my education has really helped me get any job because I didn't it's not like I worked in computer science.
Right.
So I guess it just like one thing led to another, led to another. Yeah.
It's like yeah, Fahim's degree is in engineering and yours is in
Oh yeah,
computer
yeah.
science, and you guys both went into comedy. I find that so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, well, Mitch Hed oh no, wait, not Mitch Hedberg. Who am I thinking of? Dimitri Martin was a lawyer, I think, or he
Oh,
was in
was
law
he?
school. He was in law school. Liz
Wow.
Glazer was a lawyer.
Yeah, Liz Glay, yeah, she was like a law professor, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
that is wild.
Yeah. Yeah, her story is really interesting. Cool. Well, yeah, I'll let you get going to do the rest of your day. Appreciate you doing this. Anything else to promote? Just people follow you on social media, watch the
Um,
show for free.
yeah, watch the special for free. Follow me on Instagram. Oh, the special's called Top Gus if you need to search it or something.
Yeah, make
Um,
sure you type in Gus Tate first, because yesterday I typed in Top Gus and all I got was Top Gun stuff. I couldn't even.
yeah. Did you mean Top Gun?
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah, type in Gus Tate. Yeah, just follow me on whatever platform you use. And yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to come back to promote your next special when that comes
Hmm.
out.
Cool.
All
Yeah, yeah,
right.
we'll do.
Thanks.
Hopefully see you in Phoenix sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to come see you. Let me know if you're ever down here. I'll come. I'll bring an entourage of like all my friends, all 3 of them.
Sweet.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks, man.
guys. See ya.
See you later.
Bye bye.